for. Except for.
He's so sweet. He looks like a skinny version of my husband.
Oh, he does.
He does.
I see it.
He does.
I see it.
Me?
No.
Very much so.
Or Josh?
I think Josh does, doesn't he?
I think Josh looks more like the skinny
But
version.
Mark
of your
has
husband.
like the gray.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark is around, but if Mark lost
right.
like
Give Josh
But the
100
eyes, the
pounds,
face,
he
the
was-
smile.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, so we're going to introduce the show.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yep. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think we already like we're not even going to clip out what was already there.
That's fine.
It was me and my husband.
It's,
Really? What was the article?
It was about differing political views.
differing
I read it this morning. It was good.
Did you?
in the Star Trib.
Yeah, it's always in the Star Trib.
Yeah, that way I can't read it because they want me to pay.
Long are buddies.
Yeah,
I'm like glaring at him, and I can't believe they took that picture.
I can.
I love it.
Like that's
I
perfect.
can't wait to go read it now. I glanced at it and I was just like, oh, both sidesing this issue again.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Since the show started a little chaotically, I'm going to say welcome, everyone, to Full Spectrum Cannabis. This is Sam, the producer, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Have a great show, everyone. Enjoy your time. All right?
All right.
There you go.
I'll let you get started.
You'll let me.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds
Got
great.
Lance and Calandra. I'll introduce Lance Asher and Calandra Revering. Yay!
Now we're on track, right? All right. So we've got Josh from Legacy Cup, Legacy Cannabis, Legacy Glassworks. Anything else, Legacy?
We have a fucking celebrity.
Right now, that's what we're rocking.
Okay, that's
what we're
good.
rocking.
That's good. So we're going to talk about all of those things. Calandra doesn't know sometimes what is going on. Which
I don't.
Is the fun part of it.
I
right?
don't.
I mean, you were trying to bring in a guest. I met him at the bar last week. Your buddy Jared, right?
Yes.
We didn't talk much about things, which was great because we kind of like to, keep it a bit of a surprise.
Okay.
So that will still be a surprise. But I met Jared, so
Did you tell him who you were?
yeah, he noticed me. I didn't know who
Really?
he
Okay,
was. So
cool.
I mean,
Okay,
the
so he knows
celebrity
you're-
thing has really taken off.
Yeah. So he knows you're my work husband.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. I love it. I love it.
So, anyways, back to Josh and how Calandra doesn't know Josh. We're gonna get to know Josh, and
I can't
then our
wait.
listeners get to know Josh, and
I'm ready.
we get to promote your business, which is businesses,
Bonus.
which is fantastic. We have this little thing coming up. It's not gonna be like September 14th.
That's the date.
Tell us more.
All right. Well, we got the 5th annual Legacy Cup, which is really exciting. So that's going down September 14th. It's outside at Surly Festival Field, and it's the largest cannabis festival in the Midwest. So we're super excited. Last year, we had a little over 12,000 people come for the event, which was just earth-shattering. So yeah, really, really cool. I actually started the event way back in 2019. And at that time, it was called the Legacy CBD Cup. And basically, I wanted to establish a cannabis event in Minnesota, wanted to start, building the branding, the momentum, but have to play by the rules. So started with, just doing everything on the CBD side of things, the hemp side. But we leaned into the cannabis culture, even back in 2019. So we had a biggest dab hit competition, but it was, hemp hash, instead of the real thing. And we had a joint rolling competition, with hemp. And then, of course, all of the local hemp vendors at the time. So really kind of, started back then, and we had to take 1 year off with COVID, but really just every single year, the momentum grows and grows and grows, and it just exponentially gets bigger in size. And yeah, it's a super amazing event. We try to be, open arms to the entire community. So, everybody's welcome, from people that smoke 5 grams of rosin every day to people that, just like a 2.5 milligram THC beverage, and that's enough for them. So kind of, welcoming to all types of people, and all types of businesses welcome. And it's just a really cool community event. So
I love it.
Have you been?
I have not been.
You were busy, weren't you?
Yes.
And it wasn't a conference.
No, it wasn't.
No.
I've heard
You're
of
going this
Legacy
year?
Cup. I am.
Okay, good.
Here's what's interesting. That's actually the day of my anniversary. So we're going to have to figure some shit out. So
Yeah. Because you do something different on your anniversary than go to the Legacy Cup?
We usually, take a little vacation, go out to dinner, but we'll probably spend our anniversary with him.
Yeah,
love
that'll be
it.
great.
Is your husband a cannabis connoisseur?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Seems like a great spot.
Yeah.
You know, one of
Praise
the
the Lord
Yeah.
is what he would say.
Yeah, he's also a pastor.
nice. Love it.
So it won't take much to convince him that we're going to spend our
Yeah.
anniversary with him.
I love
You
it.
Just celebrate another week, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the coolest elements is that like completely legally we're allowed to bring your own flower, bring your own hash, bring a nice pipe and actually, consume with friends, which is really cool because there's actually a lot of mature adult use markets where they don't have any, it's not allowed to have public consumption even at, a ticketed private 21 plus event. So that's a really cool aspect because I don't have to tell you two, but, for years and years and years, we've been, in our basements, in our garages, kind of hiding the consumption side of things. And now it's like come out, meet new people, smoke with each other. So I'll have 2 different sesh lounges at the event where you can consume and bring your own cannabis. So
Okay. And I would love to have some materials at the dispensary too.
for sure.
Out to people so that they know. For some
can-
reason, like shit doesn't get to the northern suburbs.
Really?
I mean,
Especially
I
to
haven't
the black
even
community.
gotten to the northern suburbs. It took me so long to get into the good Zen. I tried for I see you every week. I couldn't even get in there. Like I couldn't get into legacy cannabis. Right? I'm sitting, it's like, this is my buddy right here. And he's like, yeah, maybe.
You're drinking one and don't even offer me one, so that's a good start.
Do you want one right
Sure,
now?
Why not?
Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, I got it.
You got it.
So
Oh, you got it right in the fridge. That's great.
he keeps them in the fridge.
In the cooler.
So yeah, I find that in the northern suburbs, like North Minneapolis, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Champlin, like shit does not get to us. So on Wednesday, you're gonna laugh at me.
Okay.
I was at the Cannabis Law Conference all day
Yeah, conference.
downtown, and one of the individuals from the OCM was speaking, and afterwards,
Thank you so much.
I talked to him about this. I said, all the events that OCM has thrown, none of them have been north of Minneapolis. And they're like, you're right. It's kind of a downfall. And as a result, you know what? A lot of these events, they're dominated by white people. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just because the information doesn't get to black communities. Because when I talk to black people out there, like, I didn't even know. I had no idea. So I know that I've asked black people about Legacy Cup, and they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they like not on Instagram? Like, how do you suppose that it is? And like, how do we change that, right? We can get some posters at Good Zen. I mean, I'm sure that there's posters at Retro Bakery. I mean, there are places that this is. And,
they're on Instagram, but if you're not friends with certain
Right.
people,
Sure.
or this doesn't get into your feed, you're
Sure.
not going to see it.
Got it.
And
That
there's a
makes
lot
sense.
of people, like my husband, he doesn't do Instagram. He does Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you just
He has a lot of gray.
sit,
Facebook's the place for gray.
Well, and social media is so hard with cannabis and shadow banning,
it is.
and
It is. So, in terms of marketing, you got to kind of get into these communities and do the work and find out, okay, how do I get this information
Right.
out to this community that otherwise would not go out and find it? Because they're not, I can guarantee you, people that live in North Minneapolis, they're not going to go to some of these dispensaries in South Minneapolis or down in Hastings or, to get their shit. But where I am, they'll come to me.
Sure.
And if I don't have it there and I don't have the information, they aren't going to know.
Right.
right.
So,
Yeah, I would love your advice on how to reach out.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's for everyone, and we want kind of all walks of life to be able to come and celebrate together. So
yeah, we partner with Canacon to get the information out
Nice.
to the black community more about this event because, otherwise they wouldn't know. But the other problem you have is, if you're kind of in one city, you really don't want to go all the way to another city to do something, unless a bunch of people are going to go. But, like Minneapolis and St. Paul, I still don't understand why they don't.
The river thing?
I don't get that.
Yeah.
It's a river
Yeah,
thing.
it's a river thing. So
they might as well be 100 miles apart.
They might as well be.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
so I really tried to kind of bridge the gap of information and, let them know this is what's going on and it's okay to go.
Yeah.
You
Sometimes folks, they've got their area and they stay in that area. I've
Yes.
never been one of
Yes.
those individuals. And so because of that, I don't think like that. Right. And that's kind of what you're saying is you got to start thinking a little differently in order to get the information to the right people. Right. Or to all of the people.
And there's a business case for diversity. I mean, there are tons of studies and information out there to show that when you increase diversity, your revenue goes up.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, like I said, I don't think it's intentional, but I think that you just have to work a little harder to, just increase your marketing and really target those communities.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the location, actually, interestingly, you mentioned that. That's something that, is always kind of front and center every year. And we've, being our 5th annual, we've popped around some locations, especially, having to grow with like size. But we get tons of people saying, oh, I got the perfect, spot for you to throw the Legacy Cup, here, there. And it's always, I want it to be as easy for everybody, in the metro and outside of the metro to come to the event. Last year we had people that were flying in for the event, which was awesome. But what I think right now is so great about the current location is that, dead center, Minneapolis, so we got people obviously, 360 degrees that come, but then, where Surly's located is like almost on the St. Paul, side, like a little bit past Dinkytown. And so then it's, for St. Paul folks, it's not coming, way west. So right now it seems like the perfect location. And
Tell us the address. Where is it?
I don't know the exact address offhand, but it's at Surly Brewing Company, so the big brewery. But they have like a festival grounds outside.
Okay.
So we rent their like festival grounds, and so basically just massive outdoor event and. Trying to expand the footprint this year. We're actually working on with the city of Minneapolis to like shut down a street so we can have a bigger footprint. And that's great.
Cool.
So.
It's fun. I was there. It was lovely.
Really?
Yeah. It was great fun.
I know you have fun.
Yeah. I took home Minnesota Best Dispensary. People's Choice,
did?
right?
Yeah.
So that was a good time.
Get the fuck out of here.
I left that at the old job, but it still happened.
Because I was gonna say
it was great.
I was gonna say now you're supposed to be like representing Goods and say I have the best dispensary.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't have one anymore, so I suppose I would slide my votes.
Right. Okay.
Slide my votes over to you.
Yeah, he's got to come over and see it too.
I'd love to come.
Yeah, Channel 4 was over last night.
Nice.
So if he's got me on Channel
What were they
4.
talking about?
Since it's been 1 year, cannabis has been legal.
Sure.
They just wanted some feedback from me about the draft rules. And last time they came over, which was in November, we were still kind of, in construction, and they wanted to see, how we had converted 3,000 square feet into a beautiful dispensary.
It does look nice, and it's quite large. How big is Legacy Cannabis in Woodbury for you?
Woodbury, all together with kind of offices and stuff, is like 4,000.
Okay.
But that's a
lot
large
of space,
footprint.
isn't it?
That's way bigger than my other stores. So Minneapolis and Duluth is, on the storefront is between like 1,500 and 2,000 square feet. So it's awesome. I like the bigger space.
Yeah.
It's not all cramped together, and you kind of get that nice, clean aesthetic. I can't wait to come see yours. So.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to come over.
I get into spaces like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what I could do here, right? Because I ran spots that had like 200 and some square feet, like. They were walk-in closets in some people's houses. You know what I'm like? I'm running a dispensary out of that. Yeah. So, you keep going up as high as you can until you hit the drop ceiling. You know what I mean? And then you worry about the folks that are not as tall, and you got to get it up off the top shelf kind of situation.
Right.
But anyway, so you've got the 3 spots.
Yep.
We've been talking about Legacy Cup, so let's stay on Legacy Cup for just a little bit longer. Tickets aren't free, right?
Nope.
But they don't cost a lot either,
Nope.
which I think is impressive about the event, because really you just need to know who's coming. And in order to do that, you get to collect a little bit of money, and that can help with some infrastructure costs and things like that. How much is the ticket?
Tickets this year are going to be $10.
$10.
And then kind of early bird. And then at the door will be $20.
Gee, man.
Can you exchange for it? Like, instead of paying, can you just give a joint?
I like that idea.
That's not a bad idea, right?
Yeah, bring pre-roll instead of 10.
Three joints. Three
Yeah.
joints. I don't know if one joint's enough.
With the cup, it's always been like, I don't want money to be the barrier to entry for anybody. You know, I want it to be the packed, everybody's, you know, coming. And so at the very, very beginning, you know, back in 2019, it was a free event. And then last year we did it, tickets for $4.20 to, you know, why not,
it.
right? And I definitely think that, you know, is one of the reasons how we were able to get 12,000 people out, because like nobody could pull the like, I'm broke excuse. It's like it's $4.20 to get in. You know, I'm sure you've heard just with events in general, but like everything is, the cost to put everything on has just gone so far up.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I was really hoping to keep it at 420, and we're doing some early bird stuff, super early bird at 420 still, but had to inch it up a little bit to be able to not lose money. So.
Well, yeah, that's great. I know I'm thinking of a couple of places that I want to connect you with
Great.
to get you more business. For instance, no, y'all don't know much about this, but have you heard of the International Players Ball?
No.
Have you ever seen the documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down?
Come on, no. Like, I mean, I'm like a hardcore Kings of Comedy fan,
Okay.
right? Like
Okay.
back in the day, watch that. That's some funny
Okay.
shit. And
So
some
here's
awesome
your
people.
homework.
But anyways, tell me some things.
Here's your homework. Watch Pimps Up, Hoes Down. It's
Pimps
a
Up,
it's a
Hoes Down.
documentary.
Where do we watch it?
It should be on YouTube.
Nice.
Right where you're watching us right now, right?
I'll look it up.
We got so many subscribers. It's unbelievable.
So Bishop Don Juan, have you heard of him?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay, so Bishop Don Juan, he wears a lot of green. He's very colorful, okay? So Bishop Don Juan is known as like one of the oldest pimps around. Yeah, I think our producer's looking him up. Bishop Don Juan.
I see him,
Yes. And he's quite a character, right?
of course.
So they would put on something called the International Players Ball. So you have all these pimps, these hoes, and so this year it's 50 years of International Players Ball, and it's going to be here.
No way.
Yes, it's going to be here in Minneapolis. Snoop Dogg will be here.
When's that?
Ice Cube will be here August 23rd.
Really?
No, August 24th. It's actually a whole weekend
That
thing.
sounds amazing.
The meet and
What's
greet.
happening then? The state fair is happening.
The State Fair is happening.
Okay.
So the meeting.
But otherwise, nothing else is happening except for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a small
And
little.
then-
Yeah.
yeah, and it's Deacon something. I think he used to be
There's
a
always
pimp,
a
but
deacon.
anyway.
There's always
Yeah,
a deacon
it's
in
always a
there,
deacon.
you know. You got to turn
So-
to the Lord. Turn to the
So
Lord and get out the
meet-
game.
So you are so funny. So the meet and greet is Friday. The Players Ball is Saturday.
Nice.
And they're having a brunch on Sunday. So just Snoop and Ice Cube, they're going to be here just for Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a huge event. And guess what they all do? They all smoke weed.
That's fantastic.
And it's going to be packed. And I think
I would love to be there. That
Yeah.
sounds
No, me
amazing.
too.
you got to come. And I
Yeah.
have the link. You know, you can
Awesome.
buy a ticket. The ticket's like $100.
Sure.
I think they have like food and all that stuff. But it's going to be packed. But I think that maybe I should connect you with the owner.
That'd be
Where it's
great.
going to be so that we can have his information there. And a lot of those folks, they can flow right into your event.
Definitely.
You know, a few weeks later, because everybody there.
Yeah, it'd be a great
Amazing.
connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you say it's located? Or like, you know?
Johnny Mae's Lounge in Robbinsdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's right next to Bill's Gun Range.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they do Wednesday, they do karaoke night. And I mean, it's tons of people. But they do a lot of events. So
That
I
sounds
think,
fun.
And guess what? They all
Sign me
smoke
up.
weed.
Yeah.
Like in the parking lot, buffing up.
How is it that Bill's gun range is such a like landmark in Robbinsdale that you
Right.
can use that as a reference
Right.
point, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I know where you're talking." Then yeah,
There wasn't
Yeah.
anything else there,
Right.
right? Like, I mean, still now, there's plenty of restaurateurs that would probably just like want to beat me up over this. But there's places that are over there that they're not like, they're like, oh yeah, that's where this place is, and people are like, what's that place?
but you say Bill's gun range, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Bill's
Right,
Gun
yeah.
Range.
Right,
You're
right,
like,
yeah.
yep, I know where that is.
Yeah.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
That's in the strip mall, right? And it's got some parking underneath. Is there parking still underneath? What did they do over there? I don't know, but it's Bill's Gun Range.
Yeah, and it's going to be packed.
That's the place where the bullets are really expensive.
Yeah, you're going to see folks in sequins. I already got my sequins outfit picked out, but
Amazing.
Did you get mine? Come on, like when you're shopping, just like think
No.
about your brother, man.
No, they.
You just
But
come
you're
in
kinda-
glimmering.
I'm gonna tell you, if you come, they're gonna think you're Mr. White Folks.
So what does that mean?
You got to watch the documentary. So in the documentary, there's one
We're
white
called
guy.
Mr. White Folks.
Google it. Google it.
Okay, I got a little bit of information.
So in the documentary, there was one white guy who was a pimp.
Sure.
And he was Mr. White Folks.
Okay.
Cool.
And, years later, like you're talking about like now, 25 years later, you could probably be mistaken for Mr. White
pull
with
it
the
off.
gray.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because now Mr. White Folks is much older. And he wears like this kind of top hat, this Dob hat in the documentary.
All right. Well,
can't
here's
wait
the
to watch
info I
this.
got for you. I'll just
Okay.
give you what it says.
Cool.
According to Wikipedia, it is part of an HBO documentary.
Yes.
America Undercover. I don't know. I think if you're looking for it, you'd be looking at YouTube or at HBO.
Yep.
Right.
These are the places to find it.
All right.
You've
The
gotta
Max
watch it.
app is what it's actually now, not HBO. It's Max.
Oh, yes. If
I like
you're
to
doing
call
it.
that a Target shuffle, right? When you're like if you're a Target shopper, like you're going and getting your groceries there all the time, and then all of a sudden they change the damn aisles on you, and you're like, gosh, shit, and just it adjusts your mind for
Yeah.
that second, and now all of a sudden you're buying more Cheez-Its than you would normally buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you will both be welcomed, but, you might have a few women drawn to you.
I thought you were going to say welcome. And I was like, oh my goodness.
I'm
new
stoked.
words,
I'm
new
definitely
words,
going.
new things.
Yeah, you
great.
got to go.
I
You got
can't
to go.
wait. But now I want to see who this guy is, and then I want to. Can we
Yeah.
pull it off? It's
You might be able to.
20 days.
Yeah.
20 days,
Plenty of
maybe.
time.
Yeah. So you got to get kind of dressed up because it is.
See, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. I mean, if I'm gonna,
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm looking at his shirt. I want that shirt.
I'll bring you one
Yeah, that's cool.
No, what she
I like
means
that.
is, I want that shirt.
right now.
this one right now, right now. Galandra's like, I said he was cuter than
I want
Lance.
that shirt. I like that shirt. That shirt looks just wild, and it looks like whoever made it was high.
Oh yeah. So this is the artist is named Wonder, and he's from the Twin Cities here, but he's an internationally renowned street artist, and he does like huge murals all around. One of my close friends, and so last year for the Cup, this was like the official T-shirt at the merch stands, and then we had him make like a massive mural as you walked into the Cup with some of the same like imagery. And he'll be doing it again this year with kind of a different theme. And
This is great. And you know what? Last year, I found out about Legacy Cup after it was already over. And I'm like, how did I not know? And then this year I asked a couple people about it. Didn't have any information. And then someone happened to say to me a few weeks ago, you going to Legacy Cup? I said, you know what? I said, when is it? And then they were like, oh, it's September. And then I think I Googled it or something. And that's how I knew. And I'm usually, pretty thick in the weed stuff. So I know there's a Jamaican event. I think it's next week in Brooklyn Center. You should definitely be there too. Hand out your shit.
Yeah. We go pass out those flyers everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. We gonna get him. Pretty soon he's gonna have a black girlfriend. We can get him. I mean, he's gonna be right in the community.
Are you coupled up at the moment? We should probably ask for this.
I am.
Okay.
who cares?
All right.
Who cares?
Someone might.
Now we're talking about side
Yeah.
chicks.
Hey,
Hey.
you gotta watch the documentary.
Okay. Well, wait, I mean, this is where it all kind of jumped off from. Okay, so
you
back
know,
to
you know, I'm not allowing my husband to go to the event either.
Back to Legacy Cup. So sesh lounges, educational tent was there. Like, I mean, for those that weren't there last year, right? They've probably forgotten the years prior.
Yeah.
So if you weren't there last year, or even if you were there last year, you might have forgotten as well if you overconsumed.
Never happens.
It never happens. And then when you do, there's CBD. Everybody remember that. Okay, what else is going on, right?
What is a sesh cup?
Sesh tent.
What is a sesh tent?
So a sesh would be like smoking weed, smoking hash with friends, like going for a sesh.
Going for a sesh.
So
Session.
yeah.
Sesh.
Session. We call it match.
Yeah.
Call it match.
Match being like we both bring, the same amount of weed,
We're gonna
and
go
then
for a match.
then we smoke it together,
You
right?
call it a match
A
because.
match.
Tell us more.
Yeah, that's what that means. Like, go smoke weed with friends. You say, like, you text them and say, you want a match?
So we always use that as like,
I like it.
match, like being like, I'm not going to be the only one showing up with weed and like smoking
Exactly.
you all up. We're going to match. Like I'll bring some weed, you bring some weed, you bring some weed,
Okay.
and then we'll match. Is that same type
Yes.
of thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we always use
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. This is purely educational.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing this podcast is for. We don't even have fun on
This
it.
is
It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, we're getting our time in the day.
Yeah, we are.
I'm learning some shit.
Yeah.
I learned
okay.
about the fucking shirt.
Yeah.
Sesh.
I learned about sesh. This is cool.
But
I
the
can't
cup,
wait. I can't wait for you to use your new words at home.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna tell my kids you want sesh. They're gonna be like, what the hell?
Oh, I love it.
The cup's
We're gonna
got
go sesh.
a ton of elements, though, which is one of the great things about it. So at the core of the cup is the friendly competition of cannabis. And so for the first time last year, we were able to actually have the homegrown weed, homegrown solventless hash as part of the competition. And then, best THC gummies and best THC beverage and all those different like categories. So that's kind of at the core of it is the friendly competition side of things. And that's where the cup comes in, loosely based on the High Times Cannabis Cup, RIP High Times. But, the High Times Cannabis Cup, was basing that off of like your state fairs where you submit the pies, and it's like who's got the best pie and who's got the best squash and all that stuff. So that's kind of at the core is the friendly competition.
Great.
But of course, expanding out, so there's something for everybody. So you have the consumption side, the sesh lounge, maybe the match tent.
Dude, can't wait. You should have a match tent and then a sesh
Good.
tent and then just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Dude, the conversation's going to be great.
So that's a great element of it. The education side of things. This year we're going to focus the education side of things on how to grow weed at your house. We have such a
Ooh, I
great
love it.
rule. With being able to have the 8 flowering plants at home, which again a lot of rec states don't have any of the homegrown. So that's awesome. And so, I think that a lot of people on the home grow side of things, they get overwhelmed and they don't want to like start and they think, it's going to be such a huge expense and we need all these, we need this, that to make it perfect. But on the homegrown, just keeping it simple. And so kind of, on the education core is how to keep it simple and like, you don't need, magic potion after magic potion, like to be able to have, good homegrown weed. So that's going to be a cool element. And then how to take that weed and actually, again, legally make your own solventless hash, which you can do right at home. And so, you can have your weed and your cannabis in different elements. So that's kind of on the education side of things. Music, we have Dessa performing, which we're really stoked about. She's amazing.
Does anybody even know that yet?
I
mean, by the
by
time
the time
they
this
hear
airs,
this, they're gonna know, yeah.
But we announced
He
it
didn't
actually.
even embargo us. You know?
We announced it last night at a kickoff party at Surly.
That's good.
And then
That was a good time.
yeah, it was a good time. A lot of people came out. Yep. And then classic hip hop legends Loonies will be performing.
Really?
And
Wow.
we got them going over the 420 hours. So
Sure.
we're hoping to time got 5 on it right at the 420. So that'll be great to have them. Then a bunch of other, this year for the first time, we'll actually have 2 different stages. So
Great.
bunch of music side of things. And then, of course, the vendors. So, the classic vendors, all the folks like yourself with cannabis brands right now will be out there, but also really trying to get some really unique, artist vendors, cool clothing, records. So, having a big kind of range of vendors.
Great.
So that's a big element of it too. And then, lots of kind of really cool, activations from different sponsors. Some of those will be kind of on the surprise side of things. And just music, cannabis, education, competition. Oh, we have the ganja games. So the ganja games are fun. So this year we'll have 4 or 5 different ones. So we'll have the dab hit competition. And so basically, who can take the largest amount of hash in one hit, and it goes up and up and up, and you have to be able to clear the whole, bong or rig, and you can't puke. So that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's like an ultimate eating or that kind of thing, but for dabs.
Yeah.
Is
So
this
that's
going to be all day?
11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Got
Yep.
it. Okay.
It's a long run.
Yep.
When you're working it, it's a long run.
Yeah, 11 to 7. Just being high for 8 hours.
No, you're not high. I mean, sure, you
No,
can
the
be,
people
but
attending, they're going to
Well,
be out for 8 hours.
you can't. I'll tell you, there was not 12,000 people there all at one time, right? And so the flow of
Probably will
this,
be
the
this
flow of this festival,
Yeah.
was quite nice, right?
Yeah.
Because of the length of time, it's long for the vendors and sponsors
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, and the people putting on the event. It's a really long day, right? But for people that are coming to enjoy the event,
Mm-hmm.
If you go and increase, you increase capacity, then of course you can get more people in and all that kind of fun stuff. But it did not feel like 12,000 people. But it was a constant, steady stream, but not bunching up and log jams in a sense.
I feel like I want to be there all day
Oh yeah, you do.
because of what he's saying. Like
It's
he's
great.
talking about loonies performing,
I know.
ganja games, and I just feel like I want to be there
You
8
do?
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for some folks on the vendor sponsor side, it seems long. For me personally, on those type of events, they go by in like
Yes.
what feels like 2 minutes.
It does go
Yeah.
by
And
really fast.
last year at the Cup, like we were out there setting up till 1 a.m. I was back at like 5 a.m, and then all of a sudden everything was over, and I'm like, I don't know, what do I do with my life now? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's great fun. Okay, so anything more about the Legacy Cup that we should talk about? I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I guess
setting
just
it up.
the future is what I'll just touch on briefly.
Great.
So even with the success that we've had and the amount of people that we have, like we're just scratching the surface here. So if everything goes well, 1 year from now for the 6th annual Legacy Cup, I'll be able to actually have, an official state of Minnesota cannabis event organizer license. Pray to all the cannabis gods that by 1 year from now we have actual dispensaries open and we're growing weed and hash and we really actually have our market launched. And so then what the Legacy Cup will be able to, I don't want to say transform, but, grow into is we have all the dispensaries out there. We have all the hash makers out there. We have all the growers out there. And now as an attendee, you're able to go look at hundreds of different strains, hundreds of different types of hash, and buy it right on site.
Yeah.
And so now that's where we're going to elevate this thing, to the big, big, big leagues. And so, the hope in the future, rock this thing out to 2 days, would love to scale up. I think it can easily be into the 30, 40,000, attendees number. And I would love to be able to, at the same time, dial up and, bring in someone like Run the Jewels to headline and bring in some serious draws. So the future is really exciting.
Yeah,
I love it.
no doubt.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, you can. Of course. I mean, you ask questions whenever you want to ask questions. You always do. Like, come on. You're like work husband. It's like, yeah, I will get snappy.
My 4-year-old son, not to cut you off, my 4-year-old son right now,
Fine.
he's in the mode that almost everything he goes, can I tell you something? And I'm like, always, dude. And then he'll tell me something and like, can I tell you something? Of course, man. Like, you don't have to say those words, but like, it is really cute. And like, but just know you can always tell me something.
Yeah,
cool,
for sure.
Can I tell you something? Yep.
So, Calandra, will you tell us something?
So I have a question about the judging.
Yeah.
How do you pick your judges? And for the THC beverage submission,
Yeah.
you need like, it's a lot of cans.
It's not that many. It's 108. Isn't it
108?
108 cans?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my memory serves me.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's
right.
108 cans.
That would be right, dear.
Thanks.
Yes, 108 cans. So tell me why you need so many cans.
So part of the element of the judging is like also as kind of like an additional, bonus when you enter it in is that another element I guess that I didn't touch on in the cup is that there's a ticket option where you can buy a sampling ticket for the day of the cup. So then you can come into the cup and you're able to sample all of the different people that have, all the different commercial items that are competing. So different gummies, drinks. Right now, just with the, where we're at with legality.
That's your 4-year-old.
No,
Daddy.
I apologize.
Can I tell you something?
That was alarming. Yeah.
That's his ring.
I think that's the, hey, just letting you know. I said I had a hard stop. And this is the reminder.
So you're able to, this year, you won't be able to sample the homegrown weed and hash just with where we're at with the legality, but you buy a sampling ticket and you're able to sample all the different beverages, all the different gummies, the
Interesting.
topicals, the tinctures, the chocolates, the most innovative products. And then what that allows is if your brand doesn't take home the actual trophy, you're still able to introduce your product, without any additional labor costs or anything like that to tens of thousands of people.
That's interesting. That's
but
good to know.
But the judging thing is honestly always one of the most difficult aspects as the event organizer, because this is serious. You win best THC gummy, like you're putting that on your label, you're putting that on your website. It's a serious driver, and it'll become even more serious when you're winning the best hash and weed and on the full, dispensary side of things. And so basically every year we just try to listen to the feedback, not only from the brands, but from the community, and just try to tweak the judging to make it stronger and stronger and stronger every year. So this year we have two different sides of the judging. We have an expert panel, which we take really seriously to try to get, again, all walks of life to be able to be expert judges and get really, unique perspectives on it. So we have an expert panel that's weighted at 55%, and then we have the general public, and that's weighted at 45%.
Okay.
And then, it's something we do take really serious and try to always make better.
So I was a
which-
judge
Oh, shit.
last year,
Really?
right? So I mean,
Okay.
call that bar wherever you want to call that bar, right?
Because you are a cannabis connoisseur.
I mean, I've ingested a lot, and not just of cannabis, right? Like all of the things.
Right.
Let's do them. Let's figure it out. Figure it out for me is what it came down to. And then because of all of that, there was somebody near the organization that was like, "Hey, I want you to be an expert judge." I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do this!" And so that was great.
Okay. So, so are you still looking for submissions for different categories?
Yeah, yep.
All right. Well, let's tell the public. Are you going to be a judge again?
No, I haven't been asked.
No. Oh,
I mean, it
shit.
doesn't mean that I
Shit
couldn't
might
be, but
change after this.
I also figured that, like you have an expert judge that's the same judge 1 year after the next year. Maybe
yeah.
that wasn't going to want to happen. Who knows? But
Okay. Did you enjoy your experience?
I did. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, went and picked up what I needed. I mean, I what did I drop off last year? So last year we entered the conversation, the competition with my previous employer, and so I put together all of the things and dropped it off, and saw that kind of check in and drop off process, and then the pickup process of being a judge, and then filling out the thing of being a judge. It's not that difficult. There is some time that's involved, because how do you actually get through? Like, it's some work in order to get through it.
And so on that point, one of the things we're improving this year is in the past, the judges have judged, all of these categories together. And that's, we try to give people enough time, to be able to take the samples, and accurately judge it. But it's so many different products. So this year we're actually breaking it out. So, if you're an expert judge, general public judge, you're hyper focused on one thing. So you're just doing the best THC gummy.
Got it.
Maybe you're just doing CBD topical because you don't even like to get high, but you love the topicals.
Yep.
You're just doing, indoor homegrown flower, so you can be hyper focused on it. And then on the brand side of things, we're actually, one of the big, feedback we had heard from brands was the burden to take off all the labels and repackage everything to be the blind.
Right.
So we're allowing people now to just submit their normal package that they have in stores, and then we as a staff cup staff will be able to do the repackaging and kind of, save that chunk of labor from the brands. Yep.
Yeah.
I love how you listen to feedback
Definitely.
and, each year you've improved. And I think that's important, that you're constantly evolving and making it better, and making it better for the public too.
Yeah, exactly.
And even for the judges. And I love that you're so involved, and it's fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I really, the goal, and I think we've been doing a great job to accomplish that, but the goal is I want everybody in the cannabis community, to be every year looking forward to this, event. And, not only is it a great time, but also that it's, a fair event. And there's been some of these cannabis cups, in other states that I've heard, it's people just go bribe the organizers and like, suddenly they've won every time. So making sure, that, keep the integrity, keep it fair, keep it open, transparent. And
All right, treat it like you're a journalist,
definitely.
right? As far as competition goes, because it's important to do stuff
Yeah.
like that. What are you waving at?
I just have a couple of quick questions. I want
let's hear 'em.
to let
Okay.
you. I want to make aware of the fact that there's 10 or 12 minutes left here. I know you've got a
30 seconds less now.
wasting time. No, it's true.
Get with it. Come on.
I've got a couple
his
of
son
questions.
has already reached out.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm ruining your show. No, the Calandra was talking about how do we get people from different communities together to to bridge those gaps, and some of that's just cultural stuff that's existed for a long time, right? We all know that. But I'm wondering if there's diversity on the judging committee, and if that diversity doesn't sort of help draw in other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, by the time this airs, everything will be finalized. But right now, we're still, trying to pick out exactly those expert judges, and we want them to be, cannabis leaders in their community, and exactly that, they can help, introduce us to the community, but very, very, hyper focused on having a very diverse mix, in all the different judging categories. So
That sounds good.
So you
I
might
like
still
that.
be able to be a judge, or maybe
Yeah.
even me, but who knows?
Or if you know someone who would. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like an
Mark would be
opportunity.
a great judge.
Yeah.
Probably would be a great
Yeah.
judge.
Yeah.
Seems like an opportunity to help bridge that gap, because if you've got a judge, they're going to say, "Hey, everyone, come to this event. I'm judging it." That's
It's a
pretty
great
cool.
byproduct of
Yeah.
the ask of somebody being an expert judge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the other question I had, and maybe you were going to get to this, but have you got anything to give away on this show? And if you do, what we have is people submitting comments into the YouTube chat, right?
Right.
nice.
And I mean, I was thinking pimps up, hose down, but you guys can do whatever you want. But just
How
go
about we
back
give
to that
away
one.
some tickets?
We should
I
give
love
away
it.
some tickets. How many tickets do you want to give away?
Why don't we give away 2 pairs of 2? So
Okay.
four total tickets,
pairs
but,
Four total
but,
tickets.
but do them in pairs so you can
Yeah.
bring a friend.
Bring a friend.
Yeah.
I like
It's a
it.
great
Choose.
idea. And then, what are they going to comment? Is it going to be pimps up, hose down, or is it going
I
to
think
be?
it's got to be something, you're on it today,
Sam
aren't
started
you?
it.
It's on
I
my
had a little
screen.
bit of. I had a little
Yeah.
bit of
It's on my
cold
screen.
brew. A little bit of cold brew with 5 milligrams of THC in it, but the kicker was the 250 milligrams of caffeine.
You see,
Is that why I'm so
you see
wired?
It's still here.
It's still
this
here.
motor oil is still in my cup.
I know, but it's delicious
If I
motor
took-
oil.
I took a sip, and it tastes like asbestos.
Are you done with it? Here, give it. This is subculture. It's great. You put a little bit of cream in there. Make sure that the can's good and shaken up. And
I'm not trying to have
don't drink the
heart
whole can.
palpitations and be all. I tasted that. I was like, ooh, it's I
This is
don't know,
delicious.
I could fertilize my yard.
fertilize. It's not coffee
That
ground.
was, that was strong. 250 milligrams of caffeine.
It is. I know. I'm
No.
zipping. That's great.
No, that'll
Okay.
put hair on your chest, and I don't need that.
Fair enough. As you get older, that's what I hear happens. Yep.
This is awful. We go through this all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Okay, so we don't have a whole bunch of time left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of control here. No, I'm not. Good
luck.
Go for it.
California State Fair. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Consumption at a state fair.
Really?
That's amazing.
Ted,
right?
tell us more. For those of us that don't know, like,
Like you.
yeah.
Okay,
tell
cool.
me a little more.
Well, so I learned most of my things from Fat Nugs Magazine, right?
Okay.
We were talking
Okay.
High Times, of course,
Yep.
R.I.P. Fat Nugs Magazine, craft cannabis publication. Not saying that High Times wasn't, but maybe didn't become as crafty as they used to be, or less crafty, whatever.
Yeah.
Fat Nugs Magazine. They were out there, some good coverage on it. If you're not following those accounts, follow those accounts. Follow all of our accounts. It'll be in the notes. Just click on some buttons and some more buttons after
Love it.
that. It's going to be great. Okay. So Embark is a sponsor.
Did you go to the state fair?
No, I didn't. I looked at flights because Dustin, the editor at large, he was was like, man, I should have told you to come out here. And I was like, shit.
Did we miss
So I
it
looked
already?
at
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
happened.
it
But
just happened.
one of my good friends and an awesome member of our local cannabis community, Bryant, he founded and owns Lavish Papers.
Oh, yeah.
And, through some connections, we were able to help him, secure a sponsorship for, the rolling paper side of like the state fair. So he went out there and had a blast.
That's
And it's
fantastic.
so sweet to be able to see, I keep saying the words, mature cannabis market, and California's, the most mature since they started,
is.
medical. So cool to see a market like that, welcome someone from our brand new, community to come out there with their rolling papers and be a part of the state fair. So that was amazing.
It's cool. He's a good guy. I met him once. I was able to get a box of his pre-rolls, and I use those to give away homegrown
Nice.
pre-rolls. Right?
Love it.
And so that he was able to get out there and
Yep.
do that was pretty fantastic. I think that sometimes we're a little scared of events like that, and a lot of bad things don't happen there.
Well,
like these consumption lounges and the way that they're being put together, and the people that are there are just generally kind and awesome humans.
Yeah.
That really care for the plant and care for the others that are around them. And I think that that's what I saw
Definitely.
out of that state fair. And I would love for us in Minnesota to do something like that. And I think the opportunity
Absolutely.
to do that, I think it's there. We just need to get the folks at the state fair that have been, and maybe we can do that, right? But as of right now, all we're doing is we're just outside of the front entrance in people's lawns,
Right.
doing, but we can't, but we're still outsiders,
Yeah.
right? We want to be insiders. We want to be able to, when are we going to be able to, and I know there's a whole bunch of things this way and that way. So Cannabis State Fair, and then also, being able to have lemon-tini on draft,
Yeah.
right? At your local watering hole, your restaurant, whatever that may be. There's conversations around that's unsafe. There's conversations around, well, who knows what that. Anyways, Cannabis State Fair. I just call it Cannabis State Fair because that's what it is to me. And then your thoughts around cannabis on draft.
Yeah. So on the state fair side of things, absolutely. And I think that the state fair will slowly, dip its toes in. And so I would say, in the next few years, you'll be able to get a THC beverage, in the state fair. I imagine that will be coming. I don't know for sure.
That'd be great if it was next year, though.
It
right?
would be. Specifically with our Minnesota laws, rules, we're going to enter into this cannabis event organizer license territory. And so not to say that things can't change, in the legislature, but one of the key elements to that is that a cannabis event has to be 21 plus. It has to be no alcohol, no tobacco. It has to be specifically cannabis, with the thought that, hey, we're not going to allow a cannabis in the state fair. We're not going to allow it, at the Basilica Block Party.
Right.
So they were very intentional with that. Not to say that can't change.
Right.
But then there's other options, like what if we, what if Legacy, what if, you two, whoever, I want people to be throwing really cool cannabis events. What if there's some sort of deal to be made, with the state fair where, hey, we're renting out this parking lot that's adjacent, but is really part of the footprint. And like, this isn't the state fair. This is our cannabis event that happens to be the same days and times as the state fair. Like that's,
I like
something
that
like that's always a
creativity, Josh.
possibility.
I really do.
But I wanted to touch really quick on how you said, California did this and, the earth didn't shatter, everything was safe. So, we've now done the Legacy Cup for 4 years with 12,000 people there last year. Last year, the only security incident in the entire time with 12,000 people was somebody jumping the fence to get in, and turns out they already had a ticket. They just didn't want to wait in line. So they weren't even like, they just didn't want to wait in the line to get in.
It was $4.20,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's
already
I could have gave him the $4.20.
well, he had the
Oh, but he
ticket.
already
He just
paid.
didn't
He
want to
had
wait
the
in
ticket.
line
He
to
didn't
get
wanna wait in
into the
line.
gate. He was ready to go. He was ready to get into the
He
event.
was that eager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how many times myself have I been to,
great.
a bar that, on a Friday night, there's 10 people at the bar total. It's not even a packed bar. And with 10 people, there's still 3 different fights, with
Right.
10 people.
Right.
And so far, 4 cannabis events with tens of thousands of people, not one fight. not one security incident. And I think that speaks volumes to the difference between cannabis and alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call anybody out here, but if anywhere within the title of your business is club, right? I don't care if you're a bar. I don't care if you're a restaurant. I don't care if you're actually like a club, right? If club is in the name and there's booze, I think that's probably the spot the fights are going to be, right?
Well,
That's
I think it's
totally fair. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and I think it's kind of I think Minnesota, like many other states, it's really difficult to keep a club open without there being like a bunch of incidents, and now you got to deal with the city, you got to deal with shootings or fights,
messy.
or it gets messy versus cannabis where you're just feeling good,
Right.
like you're not in pain, you're not
Right.
you're just relaxed, and you want to laugh. You get the munchies, and you just want to eat and just talk to your new friend.
I know.
I mean, look to left, right. You got a new friend.
I know. It's,
this
fantastically comfortable.
Yeah.
This reminds me of many years ago. I started Legacy originally by going hand to hand at music festivals. Selling my cousin's pipes. That's kind of how we started originally. So used to go to a lot of music festivals. And I think actually while we're recording this right now, the big We Fest, the country music festival is going on, northern Minnesota. So at that same
hot one.
Yeah, at that same location, what's it called, like the Soho Ranch or something like that, at their festival grounds.
In Winstead?
No, it's not in Winstead.
No, it's in a different spot.
It's northern Minnesota.
Detroit Lakes.
Detroit Lakes. Thank you.
So
That's
there
the other
used to
one.
be the big country festival, We Fest, but then they used to have a festival for hippies called 10,000 Lakes Festival, which we used to go. And so, jam bands, hip hop, reggae, electronic, kind of and it was just the best time. And so we would go up there, and that festival was, much smaller than the big like country festival, but the main activity at the festival was like eating acid and Molly and as many like hard drugs as you possibly can.
Right.
And so we would go up there, and I would talk to the security because they're of course security for that, and security for WeFest, and I would say how much of a struggle is it to have thousands of people all on a bunch of crazy different drugs, and they're like, this shit is easy. Everybody is so chill. Everybody's so cool. You should see this WeFest when people are just drunk. It's a show. One year someone took a bowling ball, rolled it down the hill. No, painted the bowling ball as a soccer ball, rolled it down the hill, and shattered some kid's legs that went to kick it just because they were, drunk.
No.
And so they were moral of the story is they were saying like, you guys on all your drugs, like you guys are a treat. Like wait till all these like cowboys are there with like alcohol, and that was very like, oh wow, like because we've been told we're eating drugs, we're deviants, we're bad, but alcohol, like that's American life.
Wow.
And to hear that was really eye opening. Like, what should be legal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when I think about it, I mean, when I think people who have smoked weed, they've never like gotten into fights, and I've.
Right.
It's pretty rare.
Usually
It is.
not. Usually not. Okay, so one thing before we end, because I said you had a hard stop. I'm like, I'll get you out when you need to get out. So we're at that time.
All right.
We haven't figured out what it is that somebody is going to comment in order to get a pair.
How about just nice simple Legacy Cup?
Legacy Cup.
Legacy
That's
Cup.
I like it.
Comment Legacy
You've
Cup.
got to comment.
Before you end, I just want to say in regards to your state fair, your cannabis state fair.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I don't remember the state fair not being a cannabis state fair.
I mean,
who are we fooling here, folks?
correct, right? I mean, you smell it there, all of those things, but we can't be in there with our brand.
Yes,
But
I
I'm
get it, but I'm
yes.
just saying, like, what is society doing when
Right.
it's always been a part of
Yes,
something
it
you
has.
smell at the state fair?
And then the thing that I want to point out too is like, there's a lot of beer at the state fair, and so why are we so welcoming to that substance? And I'm not calling for prohibition on alcohol by
No.
any means, but why are we so welcoming, but still like, oh, you cannabis people are not welcome?
Yeah.
But that's the sea change that's happening right now.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's what Josh has been working on for some years. I've been working on for a couple of years. Calandra's been doing it for longer probably than that, but we got a wrap.
All right.
Yeah.
Josh has got to
Josh-
go. So you
Great
get-
show, you guys.
sorry.
Great show.
Yeah,
You get
Josh
to-
is a citizen. Man.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
to see
He's a ci-
John
he's a
at the Legacy
citizen.
Cup.
Yeah, and I'll come back on the show if you'll have me.
Oh, hell yeah, we will.
and we
He's
can
a
do. I'm
citizen
not
of
afraid to
full
do a nice
spectrum.
2-hour session next
Yeah,
time.
we can
so-
we can do a sesh. You
There you
want to
go.
know what I'm saying? But we have to do a sesh somewhere other than here.
Yeah.
Is it a
Right.
match or a sesh?
We're gonna have a match.
There
We're
you
gonna match. We're gonna match.
Match. You just text me, say match, and I say where.
Where?
All right, there we go.
Yes.
Let's do
All right, cheers, everybody.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.